So there's a question that's come through about writing a spec of a TV show. For those of you who aren't aware of that term, you're writing an episode of a current show. This isn't an original pilot that you're writing. So you're speccing the show. And then part of that question was, does a showrunner read a spec of their own show? And, are there legalities that are included, et cetera? It's a big question. The quick answer is it's highly unlikely a showrunner would read a spec of their own current show. It's not impossible. They have in the past, because it does give them an example of what this writer is capable of. Can they write for their show? I don't know if the legal issues really necessarily come into play a lot, but they do, because it's like, well, what if we accidentally take this idea? The writer then, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't happen very often. But as far as what a spec ultimately is, it's an example of your writing ability. And can you write a show in this particular tone, in this structure? Can I hit the beats? Is the comedy the same? Are the voices the same, et cetera? Like the Nickelodeon writing program, they have a whole bunch of different shows that you can write as a spec, and most of them are live action. They're not even animation. And so it's really just to show, do you have a handle on how to write for TV? When you're trying to get staffed on something, you will be asked, what can you show me in terms of your ability to write an episode of television? A lot of times they'll ask for both an original pilot and a spec. I hope that answered the question. I'm not sure. A particular writer commented about having written a spec that he really likes, or she really likes, and knows that it's really solid, but that show's no longer on the air. It's a tricky one, because I don't want to say just across the board it's useless, because it isn't, because it can still be a sample, especially if you're trying to get representation. In terms of getting staffed on a show, it kind of depends on what the show is that you spec'd. I have leaves falling on me. It kind of depends on the show that was spec'd, and also who you're submitting it to. If you feel really strongly about it, you could mention that, hey, I have a spec that I'm really proud of. It is for this particular show. It's no longer on the air. Is it okay if I submit it to you? They'll probably say fine. But you've got to have other specs ready then. If you think you wrote this one incredibly well, your talent and craft has evolved since then, you could probably do it again even better for a new show. So you want to stay as current as you can.